Yeah, it was good. It was fun. I've never been involved in a draft before, and it was something very different. Pressure on the captains to make good choices, which I think Ian did. Yeah, it was a good time had by all, I think.
Just touching on what Westy just said. Yeah, it was really fun, and to be able to go to like a draft like that, where growing up in the States, watching NFL, NBA, and all those drafts, it was it was really cool to be a part of, and it was fun.
Well, as team captain, we had the ability to be able to select great guys from the stable of people. So, the draft format itself was super fun to add, 2 youngsters to the ever oldie, 2 oldies that we have in the team. So to balance that out, it was not only a great night, but I think we've established a fantastic team.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think there was quite a lot of excitement in the room about kind of who was going to get picked when, and I think it's something that certainly as it grows could be a really fun thing to watch.
Ian, I'll address this to you. You've got a lot of experience in Ryder Cup. What does that tell you about team golf? What does it mean? What are you going to be looking for here?
Well, it's no secret I've loved playing team events, ever since I played my first one in 2004. Loved every part of every Ryder Cup that I've ever played. And, this gives us the ability to have that level of golf every week we play. We've built friendships with every team member that we've had within those teams, and become super close. Lee's played 11. I've played 7. So to be able to get, close to your teammates is something very special that we will all cherish for a long time. And, to have that ability to kind of hand over, give some of the knowledge and some of the inside information that Lee and I have certainly had in all of that experience. It's great for us to be able to do that, and hopefully, can help the young guys come through too.
It's open to the press. Any questions for the Mighty Majestics?
Hi, Phil Casey from PA. A question to either Ian or Lee, whoever wants to answer it. Your team was actually sort of out on the internet ahead of the draft last night. So was it actually predetermined? It wasn't a full draft, as it were?
Well, as captain, we had the ability to go in and be able to select the players that we wanted to be able to pull together. So yeah, we've got 4 guys here that we're really happy, 3 extra guys that we're really happy with.
And so, Lee, just a slight surprise maybe that you weren't one of the captains. Any particular reason for that?
I think the captaincy role is a role made for Ian, isn't it, really? So,
Lee's too old.
Yeah.
Ian, it's James Corrigan from The Telegraph.
Hey,
Ian, you said how much you love the Ryder Cup. We all know that. Do you think you're putting in jeopardy the future, your Ryder Cup future, by playing in the LIV Golf series?
We don't know, James. I'm as interested as you are to see how it plays out. I'd like to think it wouldn't. All the golf that I've played around the world in all the different countries and different tours that I've played on, I don't see why this should be any different.
And was that a factor in your decision? Did you have to weigh that up, that risk?
Well, of course, but it's an unknown risk, right? I mean, we don't know how DP World Tour are going to view it. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously a factor.
John.
Alex, CNN.
Sorry.
Question for Ian Poulter. Ian, do you think there's any hypocrisy with some of the sneering about LIV Golf, and particularly the criticism of the vast sums of money you guys are set to earn?
Every week we play for vast sums of money, and we always want to play for as much as possible. This is no different this week. When I moved over to play in 2004 to play on the PGA Tour, it was exactly the same there. So, You know, I want to play for as long as I possibly can. Longevity in this game at the age of 46, turning 47 soon, you know, that's a factor which, you know, I want to play golf for as long as I possibly can and be competitive for as long as I possibly can. So, you know, I'm happy.
John Hopkins from Global Golf Post. Lee, I was hoping that Jamie would have asked you as well what your reaction was to his question, essentially the Ryder Cup captaincy and all that,
Yeah.
how you weighed it up and how disappointing it would be if you were to be told that you couldn't play and you couldn't be captain and all that sort of thing.
Thanks, John. Yeah, thanks for asking me. Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, it's something I obviously have to take into account. I'm not sure about the playing days. You know, I'm 50 next April. Obviously, captaincy, you know, that could be in jeopardy as well. But like Ian said, he pretty much covered it all there with what he said, you know. What I would say is, you know, myself and Ian have both been members of the PGA Tour while we've been on the European Tour. And, you know, that's not, had no effect in the past on whether people have been captains. And, you know, the LIV Golf is another tour. So, you know, why should it be any different?
Hi, Ian Carter from BBC. Question for Ian and Lee. I mean, obviously, all of you who are involved in the established tours are here not having received waivers to do so. This is a new project, so I wonder, do you regard yourselves as rebels or trailblazers?
I regard myself as a global golfer, Ian, and I have been for 24 years. And you know, I've played on the European Tour since '99. I've played on the PGA Tour since 2004. I've held multiple cards, and I've played on numerous tours at numerous times, and played plenty of events around the world. And that is what I'm continuing to do. And you know, all of those options to try and play golf for as long as I can, provide as good a content as I possibly can for myself on the golf course, is exactly what I'm doing.
Lee?
Well, exactly the same. You know, it's you know, we're independent contractors and we've played all over the world. You know, I've played for the last 29 years pretty much wherever I wanted to. So yeah, nothing's changing.
Does it feel in any way uncomfortable to be doing this without the blessing of the tours with whom you've been so closely linked?
Not really. It's a decision we've all had to make, and you know, I think we're all comfortable with the decisions that we've made.
And if I may, Laurie and Sam, can I just ask you about the level of your commitment? Are you in this for the whole series or just the London event?
Go for it. Me? I'm going to play a few of the events. And yeah, just sort of see how it goes. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to be out here. And yeah, it should be good fun.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Just I'll play as many as I can get myself qualified for, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that opportunity. And
being at the opposite end of your careers, do you have any worries about potential sanctions from the tours?
It's, you know, I would love to be able to play on as many tours as I can, and you know, it's not in my hands. It's up to the DP World Tour what they decide to do with that. But you know, I would love to be able to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked for a long time to be on the European Tour, so I'd be disappointed if I couldn't play it going forward. But that's in the DP World Tour's hands. So.
Lee, Phil Casey again. As you point out, you've obviously been a great servant of the European Tour, DP World Tour now. Do you have any concerns about the future of it going forward if this takes off and there are 14 events in a couple of years' time that drains away some of the bigger names of the European Tour? Do you think the European Tour is going to be in real trouble?
Well, it's competition, isn't it? I think competition in any sport is good. You know, it keeps everybody on their toes and, you know, keeps everybody trying to achieve as much as they can possibly achieve. So I think LIV's there, and they've made the statement not to try and be a threat to these other tours. You know, it's 14 events, and that leaves 38 the rest of the time. So I don't see any reason why all the tours can't coexist. You know, they're not there as a direct threat as such, and although the other tours seem to perceive it that way and don't seem to want to work with us. But like I say, competition is generally good.
Rob Jones, Sky Sports. A couple of questions for Lee and for Ian. You've spoken about holding multiple cards. I guess the difference with this tour is where the main funding comes from, Saudi Arabia. As you come into it, do you feel suitably educated about the myriad of issues and human rights records that comes with that country?
We've played on the European Tour in Saudi Arabia over the last number of years, and you know, the event has been a big event. It's had a world-class field. I think everyone up here now has played in that event, and it's been a world-class tournament.
Lee?
Sorry, can you ask again?
Yeah, this is a tour that is funded by Saudi Arabia, which is a country with a record of human rights and the way they approach women and LGBTQ plus community. Do you feel educated about everything that goes on in that country and have no qualms in taking the money that comes from there?
Yeah, I mean, like Ian says, we've all played in Saudi Arabia already. We've been given releases by the PGA Tour to play there, and the European Tour have held events there. This is no different, really. So, yeah, I feel educated on it, but you know, it's something I've done in the past, and you know, that's it. You know, as independent contractors, we can go and basically play wherever we want.
And you both touched on how much you've loved the Ryder Cup as well, and this is a controversial tour. There's no way around it. Did you feel that being involved in it will in any way tarnish your legacy and the level of popularity you both have with amongst golf fans? I
mean, I don't believe it should be controversial. As Lee touched on, you know, there's 8 events this year, 10 next year, 14 the year after. You know, there is plenty of room to be able to have other great tournaments on other great tours that we would like to compete in as well. So the legacy standpoint is I'm trying to provide for my family, which is the first and foremost thing that I want to do. You know, I come to work to play golf, and that is my job at the end of the day. I love it. I love playing golf. I love what the opportunity of LIV gives us from a standpoint of playing slightly less golf, which gives me the ability to be able to be fresher, ready to go. It's a magnificent opportunity that, you know, I'm really looking forward to.
Martin Lipton. Oh, sorry, Lee, go on.
No, it's all right. I'm just saying I agree with Ian, yeah.
Martin Lipton from The Sun. Ian and Lee, you're old enough, almost as old as me, to remember how rebel breakaway events in different sports in the past have seen threats of bans, and they'll never play again in cricket and tennis, and even recently in swimming. All of those occasions, those threats evaporated, were rescinded, and the sport came together. Do you think that golf will end up following in the same path?
I'm not quite old enough to remember those days, even though I am probably the oldest. Well, I'm definitely the oldest up here, but I mean, you're asking me to look into the future there, which I can't do. You know, I like the concept of LIV Golf. I think it's exactly what golf needs. You know, team format more often, shorter format. If you're asking me to say where I think golf needs to go, it needs to be faster. You know, it needs to be a team format. It needs all the people out on the golf course at the same time. One of the funnest days of the year for me, watching TV, golf on TV, is watching the match play, where, you know, there's a lot of games out on the golf course at the same time, a lot of action happening, not too many commercials. So, you know, the thing that drew me to this was the concept, and, you know, how at certain weeks of the year, golf, there's a place for this in golf. 72 holes is great, and, you know, the major championships are obviously 72 holes, and it's kind of the traditional format of the game, a little bit longer. But who's to say that, you know, there isn't room for a shorter format in golf and a team format?
Hi guys, Michael McEwen from bunker.co.uk. A question to, I guess, all four of you, but maybe Ian and Lee first, if you wouldn't mind. A lot of talk about the money, clearly. Is there any level of discomfort with the amount of sums we're talking about at a time when the general public, indeed some of your fans, are dealing with a cost of living crisis and food banks being prevalent, struggling to make ends meet?
You know, wherever sports people play golf, you know, you can always, you know, revert it straight back to the money side of things. And I think there's so much more to it just than the money. You know, maybe speaking for Lee and I, we're getting older. I think we'd like to play still great competitive golf as much as we possibly can. But just like, you know, the transition in 2004 where I decided to play, you know, 15, 16, 17, 18 tournaments on another tour for significant increase in money to what was being played for on the European tour, it's the same premise.
Lee as well, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I'm a professional golfer, and you know, I do it as a living. I've been very lucky. I've had a longer career than most people out here would have had. This is my 29th season, but you know, like you, if there's a pay increase, you know, then at my age, I'd have to be stupid not to take it, and well, certainly have a good look at it, and then not take it.
Yeah, hi, it's Neil McClellan from The Mirror. Question for Lee and Ian. Just with the sheer weight of money that's been invested in this tour, do you think it's inevitable that LIV will become the preeminent tour and the PGA Tour and DP World Tour will be effectively feeder tours? And do you see the other top players, do you see Rory and Colin Morikawa joining in it as well?
I mean, I definitely see other top players, you know, watching on this week and wanting to be a part of it. You know, I feel, yeah, there's a huge investment coming into the game of golf and sport in general, of which, you know, definitely other players will be looking in with interest this week, and I think they'll want to come and see what it's all about. I mean, you know, the team format has always been something which most people have always gravitated to and had their best time, you know, on the golf course. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it is a vast sum of money, but it's a great platform to be able to build the game of golf and give back at the same time.
Well, he's covering it all for me, isn't he? So, what can I add?
Well, can I just add something on the moral dimension as well, as independent contractors? Is there anywhere, Lee and Ian, is there anywhere in the world you wouldn't play? If Vladimir Putin had a tournament, would you play there?
That's speculation. Not even going to comment on speculation.
So just in a generality, is there anywhere you wouldn't play on a moral basis? If the money was right, is there anywhere you wouldn't play?
I don't need to answer that question.
Sorry?
I don't need to answer that question.
Lee, do you want to answer it? Would you have played in apartheid South Africa, for example?
Well, you're just asking us to answer a hypothetical question there, which...
Well, they're
you know,
moral questions, aren't they?
Answer a question on that.
Next question.
Lee, you talked about being an independent contractor. That placed the decision more... Sorry, Rob Harris from Associated Press.
Hey, Rob.
The decision rests more with you rather than the tour as in other cases. Did you have human rights groups coming onto you? Have you been consulted them at all before you took this decision about also how you might be appropriated for Saudi PR, even sort of, not necessarily overtly?
You're going to have to explain that question.
I mean, have you had human rights groups coming onto you ahead of this decision, no. And have you sought to consult them?
No, I haven't. No. I've consulted a lot of people, but not from the direction that you're saying.
What was the biggest thing you had to decide on? What was the biggest thing that might have made you say yes or no?
What the right decision for me was.
And, you know, to Ian as well, you we've heard from Greg Norman saying that Tiger Woods turned down high 9 digits, nearly $1 billion. How many digits are you on? Do you feel underpaid compared to that?
I always feel underpaid compared to Tiger.
We've got time for another one or two.
Lee, I remember James Corrigan from the Telegraph.
I know you are, James.
I remember Ernie at Wentworth when the prize went up to $1 million for the match play, and he was asked if he would consider that a silly amount of money to be playing for, and if he'd be perfectly comfortable in winning it, and his answer was yes and yes. Can I just ask you, do you think $4 million is an obscene amount to be playing for, and would you be comfortable in winning it?
I think we're very fortunate to be playing for the vast sums of money that we're playing for nowadays, not just on the LIV Tour, but on all the tours. I think, to do something you love for the amount of money that we do it for is a very, very lucky and fortunate position to be in, yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.